Hello, everyone. Welcome. My name's Victoria Gimiliano, and I am incredibly excited to welcome you to this very special fireside chat with world-renowned designer Tommy Hilfiger, of course, needing no introduction, to celebrate the brand's presence in Decentraland for the first Metaverse Fashion Week. I'm also incredibly delighted to welcome Cathy Hackl, who is Chief Metaverse Officer for the Futures Intelligence Group. And she's also the official chair of Metaverse Fashion Week, and honestly is the person you should go to read or listen to when it comes to anything about the metaverse. And of course, Justin Banon, Boson Protocol co-founder. As some of you will know, Boson Protocol is the infrastructure layer that connects the metaverse to real world commerce, which underpins the Tommy Hilfiger store in Boson Portal's fashion district. So thank you all for joining. Tommy, we're going to kick off with you. Thank you so much for being here today, and welcome back to the metaverse. We are currently being live streamed directly into Decentraland right now, into the Boson Protocol event space. So we're literally live in the metaverse. And of course, this isn't the first time that your brand has been linked to the metaverse. So your designs have previously made appearances in Animal Crossing and in Roblox. So I would be really interested if you could tell us a little bit about why you are doing Metaverse Fashion Week and why you feel that right now is the right moment for you guys and for such an iconic brand.
Well, I think the metaverse is really the future. It's really connecting our brand to innovation, creativity, collaboration, and storytelling. But it's part of our DNA to embrace what is next. And I really believe the metaverse is what is next, and it is going to lead us into more creativity, more experiences, more opportunity to build a community of fans worldwide.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting. And, you know, Cathy, you are known as the godmother of the metaverse. And when you look at something like Metaverse Fashion Week, does it kind of fit in with your view of how you predicted retail taking place in the metaverse? And how far along are we in terms of the metaverse's evolution when it comes to retail?
Yeah, I think that what we're seeing right here in Metaverse Fashion Week is really pushing the envelope towards the future of fashion and retail, right? I personally, I hologrammed into Decentraland. I think it was the first volumetric video or hologram inside Decentraland. And that was really exciting. We were really pushing the boundaries of the technology there, let me tell you. So I think that things like this really show that in Web3, fashion and art are leading the way, are really the ones that are pushing forward, that are pushing, the boundaries of innovation here. So very exciting. When I think about retail, and really it's about the future of customer experiences. What is being created right now is new customer journeys and new touch points, right? So that's really, really exciting, kind of what I'm seeing. And, this evolution of commerce in some ways, from physical to physical commerce, which, I've been doing for a very long time, and we all have, to virtual commerce, which has been having thriving economies in gaming spaces for a while. It's just obviously very, very sexy to talk about it now. But I'm interested in exploring further kind of the things, for example, that are enabled by Boson Protocol and that you're seeing right now, with Tommy Hilfiger and all the different things that are happening inside Decentraland, which is virtual to physical commerce. So virtual commerce that happens in a virtual space that might enable something in the physical world, or the other one, which would be physical to virtual. I'm really interested in looking at those. How do we grow those at scale? Because I think they have a massive impact. And to echo what Tommy said, this is about the future of community. It's the future of fandom and how people engage with the brands that they love in multiple ways and in multiple touch points.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I also love the point that Tommy raised about the storytelling and and like building that for the community. I think that's wonderful. And Justin, moving over to you, you've previously spoken about the blurring of boundaries, right? The blurring of boundaries between the digital world and the physical world. So maybe you could speak about the implications of this for brands like Tommy Hilfiger.
Sure. Well, I think, if you take an example of humans, it's, humans clearly now have a physical and a digital component. We've all got LinkedIn profiles, Twitter, and, avatars, etc. And that process of this blurring between digital and physical worlds, or as Cathy has updated me, the metaverse and the metaverse, is happening with commerce and items and retail. So what we're seeing is physical items and digital items becoming digiphysical or phygital items, and then also having an experience component as well. And what Boson Protocol enables is for all of those elements, a digital, a physical, and an experience, all to be represented by the same thing, which is an NFT. And so have all of those properties of being gamified, tradable, and programmable. And so, the metaverse is like a game world, essentially. And, you don't see people playing games that don't have, some engaging gamified aspect. And metaverse commerce is exactly the same. So it's enabling communities to play games and engage with brands, both, in terms of, physical experiences and digital experiences as well. And so this is all sort of merging into this physical, digital, and experiential commerce.
Yeah, I wonder if you could also elaborate on that experiential piece. Like, I know that you've talked about these digiphysical treasure hunts before. That would be really interesting to kind of explore a little bit.
Sure. So imagine if you went to a Tommy Hilfiger flagship store and there was a big window display with this rare item, let's say a rare custom jacket, and you couldn't buy that jacket in store, and there was the physical and then a picture of the digital. But in order to buy that item, you'd have to click a QR code, which would take you to the metaverse. And then within the metaverse, you would play some sort of a game or quest in order to earn an NFT. And that NFT would unlock into sort of, 3 components, which could be a digital wearable that meant you could wear this rare item within the metaverse. It would unlock into a redeemable NFT, which means you could go back to the store or to a website and claim the physical. And then another component, which would be an experiential, which might be access to a Tommy Hilfiger fashion show or event. That sort of digital to physical experience, and sort of retail is what the metaverse and Boson technology enables. And, it's just fascinating working with brands, creatives, as they put to work these tools that we've built.
Yeah, thank you so much. I think it's super exciting to kind of hear this concept play out, and it's so close, and I'm super excited for it. So Tommy, I'll jump back to you. One of the really interesting things about your previous forays into the metaverse is that you've kind of embraced this idea of creating a buzz around exclusivity and limited editions. So in Roblox, for example, you partnered with 8 Roblox creators to produce their interpretations of iconic Tommy Hilfiger items. So in your opinion, does a metaverse environment provide more opportunities for community building and creativity with more longevity than this simple user journey of someone just walking into a store and buying something?
Well, as a global brand, we're always looking at ways to entice the community and the fans. We want to be a step ahead of the competition. And we want to, for lack of a better term, build a better mousetrap. The metaverse allows us to create this unique experience through digital and physical. And it allows us to evolve the retail journey we're on. We're always looking at new, exciting ways to evolve retail and make retail exciting, because we know that it could get very boring doing what we have been doing in years past of just selling physical product. So now, if we're living within the metaverse, it allows the community to create digital skins, buy, sell, trade them, put them on their avatars, play games with them, go on journeys with them, reap rewards with them and for them. And at the same time, bounce into buying the physical product or receiving the physical product at some point in time. And that in and of itself is a true, unique experience. So earlier, Justin was talking about the digital, the physical, and the experiential. And that's really what it's all about. Where it's going from here, maybe Cathy can tell us, but I will tell you that it's just the beginning of this incredible journey. It's like, for me, like taking a rocket ship into outer space, because it is that exciting and that unique.
Yeah, I know that that's music to Justin's ears. I don't know if Justin, if you wanted to expand on that at all.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we are right at the beginning with this incredible tool set that we've built, and seeing the technology make contact with all the creatives and the communities as well, and just see that the creativity that's coming up is incredible. And those of us that are fortunate enough to be immersed in that, it's a sort of a whole new world that's being created right before our eyes.
Yeah, and I wonder if, Cathy, you have any thoughts to add to that as well, this idea of community building and this creativity.
Yeah, I mean, whenever I talk to any of the brands and the companies that I advise, I always talk about community and authenticity, right? This is very community driven. Never before have we had to be so community driven, and the community knows when something isn't authentic. I mean, like I said, I work with a lot of brands, and sometimes I'll see their maybe some of the agencies that are pitching them ideas to do something in Roblox or in Fortnite, and it's like, where's the fun? Where's the game? It is about gaming spaces. It is about engaging. I would say something I find really interesting and that I want to echo from Tommy and Justin is the fact that culture is being created in these spaces, right? Culture is being created right now during Metaverse Fashion Week. And it's that, it's our exploration of identity. It's that business model that I call direct to avatar. I wrote an article back in 2020 with Ryan Gill about, is direct to avatar the next direct to consumer? And that's taken on a whole new life of its own. So I think that it's important for us to think about authenticity, about community. How do you engage community authentically in a way that doesn't seem forced, right? And then also, like, how do we understand identity in the metaverse, right? We're expressing ourselves. We make fashion choices every day in the physical world, and you're starting to see that in these virtual spaces as well. I'll give you an example. My children are, pretty young. They spend a lot of time in Roblox specifically. And, they spend a lot of time thinking about how they dress their avatar. And I never see them spend that much time thinking about how they're dressing themselves in the physical world. So it's this really interesting moment that we're at. And I agree. I echo Justin and Tommy. It's an exciting time to build a new future. I think fashion and luxury have been reinvigorated even further because we're at the cusp. We're at the cusp of something amazing.
Yeah, and just following on from that, the metaverse has been said to be about social networking as much as it is about shopping. And, I can quote Justin here and say that, retail in the metaverse is about far more than just this 3D version of a web commerce site, for example. So, Cathy, would you kind of expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, when I think about the metaverse and longer term view, right? And I've spent the last 8 years working in metaverse industries, right? When people think about the metaverse right now, they're very hyper focused on the virtual side because that's kind of where we're able to play and push the envelope. What I'm really excited about is thinking about those virtual shared experiences in virtual spaces, but also the physical world. And when we do get to unlock the physical side of the metaverse, that'll have massive implications for all of us, right? So my experience going to a Tommy Hilfiger store is going to be very different once we unlock that component of the metaverse, right? It's going to really combine these two together, and it's just a really exciting time to re-envision retail, to re-envision commerce. And at the end of the day, what we're talking about here is the future of fandom, the future of community, the future of business. And yeah, I mean, I think it's going to unlock so many massive opportunities to bridge both physical and virtual. And we're gonna need the the infrastructure. We're gonna need the protocols to be able to do that. So yeah, I'm just happy to have a catbird seat and kind of be in this moment, living this exciting moment of change.
Yeah, and you've just said, we need the infrastructure to make that happen. So Justin, I know I've literally just quoted you in asking that question. So I wondered if you wanted to say anything to that.
Well, yeah, I mean, all of these exciting possibilities. I mean, I totally agree with Cathy about the physical element. And I think, our vision at Boson is a commerce overlay to digital, physical, AR, that uses this now standard NFT format to enable the purchase of any physical, digital, or experiential item. And what that means is it doesn't matter what the item type is. We use the same format, NFTs, that can be gamified, tradable, and programmable. It doesn't matter whether you're in physical, digital, or AR. The whole notion of this Tommy Hilfiger brand could be designed by a game designer in 5 years' time or 2 years' time. And if you see someone with, a Tommy Hilfiger item at a party, you can click on that and potentially purchase that with Boson Protocol, or certain items, you'd have to be part of some sort of loyalty game mechanic in order to get them initially. And that could be in the real world, AR, and also in a digital metaverse. I think that's where we're getting to, this kind of gamified kind of blurring of all of these different realities.
Yeah.
Victoria, and to that point, I think that's why the fashion industry needs visionaries like Tommy Hilfiger, like Tommy, who's here, because with those visionaries and with that, with that vision, we can push the envelope and, obviously get to that next step where fashion needs to go. So I applaud you, Tommy, for having that vision and that excitement about what's coming.
Yeah, absolutely. Second that.
Thank you. It's very exciting. And I think that as both of you said, unlocking the physical in the future is going to change the whole dynamic of the entire retail business worldwide, on not just fashion products, but every product. Mm-hmm. And I think that, look, living within the culture, pop culture, Gen Z, we have to speak their language. And this is the language they speak. They are also going to weigh in and help me design new products. They're going to tell us what colors they like, what fabrics they like, what they don't like, what accessories they like. And then they will buy them digitally. And when they're successful and get thumbs up from their fans and their community, they will then buy the physical. So it's going to change retail, and it is going to ignite retail like we've never seen it before. We're just on the verge. So I'm all in. I'm really excited about it. And I think the experiential part is sort of the glue that brings both the digital and physical together.
Yeah, absolutely. And, this is basically exactly what Boson is made for. And, while Fashion Week is a really important step in Boson's roadmap, it's not really our end destination. So I'm curious, Justin, if you could kind of set a little bit of context around what's next for brands that will step into the metaverse and kind of this future casting.
So, yeah, I mean, I've touched quite a bit on that. I mean, immediately what's next is we are seeing a lot of these sort of digi-physical experiential activations where brands will be going from the high street to the metaverse, because brands with a high street presence globally, I mean, can offer scarce collectible items to that really engage their communities and create these kind of physical to digital and back to physical treasure hunts. I think this summer we're going to see a lot of these. If you think about some of these games like Pokemon and things, mash those up with brands and commerce and going from high street to metaverse stores and back, using technologies like Boson Protocol and leveraging NFTs so they can be gamified, they can be tradable. The community can trade these items, brands get secondary royalties, and also programmable, so they can be linked to things like loyalty programs, etc. I mean, that's what's happening this summer.
Yeah. So I've kind of got a nice like closer almost. So I'm really curious about like where we see ourselves in 5 years' time. So Tommy, let's imagine that we are looking at a Tommy Hilfiger store in the metaverse in 5 years' time, and there are a ton of people shopping there. What does it look like to you? What can you see, and what would you like to be able to see in that space?
Well, I think it will be up to the fans, the community and consumers to tell me what they want to see and how they want to shop. I know that 24/7, this community will be shopping and they'll be gaming at the same time, but they will be selecting what products they want as a result of their desires and what their fellow community family will be voting on. So I think that in 5 years' time, we're going to see digital stores, virtual stores throughout the world, but they'll be changing rapidly. They will not remain the same for any length of time because that creates boredom. What we want is stickiness. So we want these consumers in this community to come to Tommy Hilfiger and live there. We want them to stay there. We want that to be part of their entire lifestyle. So they are actually going to tell us what they want and what they need. But again, for me, it is the future. And what I always say is fame is a part of it. FAME, fashion, art, music, entertainment, and of course, sports. So it is the culture, and we're building upon the culture as we speak today.
Yeah, that was beautiful. I love that. Fame. I will remember that from now on. Cathy, I'm really curious because I mean, the things that you're a little bit of an idol to me. So I've seen some of the activations that you've done recently, like the hologram that you mentioned yesterday. So I'm really curious about like some of the things that you're most excited for and how you see the metaverse evolving over that next 5 years.
So I'm really excited about the opportunities it's opening up. For example, my avatar right now in Decentraland is dressed by Natalie Trevon, and Natalie Trevon is actually a blind designer. And she's all about accessibility, both in the physical world and the virtual world. So, I mean, she, just showing us nothing is impossible. Like we can do anything. So I love the concept that this is opening up opportunities for people across, for women, minorities, people with disabilities. This is just opening up a new world. I'm thrilled about that. I am personally very proud to have a seat at the table, right? And be a woman of color out there very prominently being a part of this industry and pushing the envelope. So excited about that. And to echo what Tommy said, this is about building community. It's about understanding where things are heading. It's about having that vision. And in the next 5 years, I mean, continued evolution. The brands that get it are the ones that are going to thrive, the ones that are going to build community. And I think for the people out there, like the gamers, right, and the players, this is a new era. For my children, I hope it's a very positive future. And every time I talk to anyone, I say, I always usually say something like, in the metaverse, we are all world builders, and now is our time to build. And, what we build matters. What we build right now matters more than ever. So, this is an invitation to everyone watching here that you are welcome to build this future with all of us.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one of the things that I've experienced. And we were actually discussing this just before we went live, that the Web3 world, in my experience, has been incredibly empowering, and something that I'm also really, really proud to have a seat at the table. So Justin, before I open up questions to the audience, I'm curious, for both yourself and for Boson, what are your hopes for the metaverse over the next 5 years? Oh, you're on mute, Justin.
Sorry. I think on the level of brands, to pick up on what Cathy and Tommy was saying, I think the brands that will win will be the brands that realize that this is creating a really fun digiphysical kind of gamified experience for their communities that's in the metaverse, that is, you know, it's like video games but real life, and being part of their brand, combining a bit of like a loyalty program where you can go up in ranking and status and get rewards, and it's digital physical, and it's part of their life, is, you know, that's going to be the brands that win. I mean, for the metaverse itself, as you know, you're certainly aware, Victoria, I'm a big advocate for an open metaverse, where we've got, and Boson Protocol is an open decentralized technology where lots of brands and you know, communities can thrive, rather than being in some closed siloed platform. And so, you know, my hope is, and Boson is a big part of that we sort of we keep that open. And then finally, touching on your you know, talking about opportunities, with Boson, and also with my co-founder Gregor, one of our real kind of principles is building the future leaders of Web3. And, you know, Victoria, you're one of those, and within Boson Protocol, we have got, you know, lots of younger people that have been sort of thrust into positions of leadership and opportunity. And I don't think it will be 5 years at the rate they're evolving, but you know, in 2 or 3 years, these will be the people that we pass the baton on to, and will build this thing that we'll come to call the metaverse.
Yeah, thank you. I feel very inspired by Boson, and I also feel really inspired by the brands that are entering into Metaverse Fashion Week, into the metaverse in general. So you too, Tommy, I am really inspired by your activation, by the store as well. I would really love to kind of open up the floor for any questions. We have 3 incredible brains with us, so please do drop your questions into the Q&A. Just to kick things off, Lara says a statement, not a question, but she says, I'm about to go and buy some Tommy Hilfiger just to support his commitment to the metaverse, which I adore. So thank you, Lara. I don't know if you want to speak to that, Tommy.
Look, let's just say that the metaverse is going to be our future. And for us to engage in it as a brand gives us opportunity that we didn't realize we had even a year ago, 2 years ago. It is very new to us, but we're embracing it as being part of the future, because we really needed to change the dynamic of retail, of shopping, morphing into, I would say, social commerce rather than just e-commerce, and v-commerce. So now when we marry the virtual with the physical, we have a new blue sky ahead of us. So, I mean, I hope that sort of gives everyone my 10,000 foot overview, but it's so exciting. I think we can't put into words what it is going to do to the future of retail and even product design. It is going to really drive everything we do.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if either of you, Cathy or Justin, want to speak to that driving towards everything that we do.
Yeah, I would say that there, this is interesting because I think about the brands that I love, right? And actually Tommy Hilfiger, not just because you're here, but it really has been a brand that I've loved throughout my life because my dad has been a big fan.
Thank you.
Yeah, so he was very proud that I was doing this this with you. So I think when you love a brand, you want to engage with that brand in multiple forms and in multiple form factors, right? So what you're seeing here is an extension of, if you love a brand, or if a brand is aspirational to you, being able to engage with that brand in multiple ways, right? Whether it's in a virtual environment or in the physical store or in the form of, whatever it is. So I always think about, this is a really weird analogy, but I think of Elmo and my kids. Like, my kids didn't want just an Elmo stuffy. They wanted the Elmo backpack and the Elmo sippy cup. And it's almost like that when we're adults. When we love a brand, we want to engage with it, right? In many different forms, just it's more adult. But what you're seeing is a further extension of that future of fandom that, Zoe Scammon talks about so much. And I love that. I love that we are embracing fun, that we're embracing gaming. Gaming is the on-ramp or parent of the metaverse, and understanding that the future is led by, the younger generation telling us really what they want. It's not going to be so much top down, but it's going to be a true community engagement as to what we design, how we product design, like Tommy mentioned, store design, how do we design stores in the physical and in the virtual. So yeah, I'm really excited to see that progression and how we engage with the brands we love, and how we, how fans evolve as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I have another question, which is about, the shape of Metaverse Fashion Week as an activation, as an event, and that is about what the future looks like in terms of interoperability or seasonality. Being a thing with digital fashion going forward. So I don't know, Cathy, if you want to speak to that. I see that Justin's, he's back. Yes, Cathy, if you want to speak to that.
Well, I think it's interesting, right? Because there's no seasons necessarily in the metaverse. It's ongoing and changing. So when I think about virtual fashion, I want to see the evolution of virtual fashion, especially using NFTs, as a virtual item that I buy, but that can evolve, right? I can burn it, like burn in the NFT sense, or, it just evolves, right? It is computer code, right? It is programmable. So I want to see fashion evolve, right? I think it's going to be an opportunity to evolve in different ways. And what I see here too is a really interesting moment for fashion design, in the sense that you've got the traditional fashion design, right? The people that go to fashion design studios, to schools, and then you've got the game designers. I want to marry both of them, and kind of, there's going to be a little friction at the beginning, but then, there's going to be amazing things that will come from this. So really looking forward to, things, for example, like Polimoda in Italy, and the things that they're doing around metaverse and marrying both fashion design and game design. So
yeah.
And absolutely. I mean, just to say there, Cathy, I completely agree. And this kind of concept of programmable, that if you're representing the digital, physical, and experiential via an NFT, then these NFTs can be programmed to work together, that you kind of, one can unlock another. You need 3 or 4 to put together to complete a set that enables you then to go and, unlock experiences or be able to access a certain collection. All of these game mechanics combined with fashion and these brands is just, and that's what we're sort of starting to do, is put game designers with fashion designers and give them tools, and it's incredible what they come up with.
Yeah, and Justin, I wonder what your thoughts are on this idea of interoperability between Metaverse Fashion Weeks in the future as well.
Well, by building on core Web3 standards like NFTs, we enable out of the box for all of these things to be interoperable. And that, I mean, Boson Protocol is built on those standards, and we represent, the open decentralized movement where everything can connect, rather than, you've got 3 or 4 separate proprietary standards and you can't connect. And that will just, just like the internet itself, enable like a ballooning of innovation that you won't get when you've got, a dozen or so, silos.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm very much looking forward to the day where, my Tommy Hilfiger, I can jump from Animal Crossing to Boson Portal to Roblox and backwards and forwards again. That's really exciting to me. A question here from Dara for Tommy. is the current strategy to market to the early adopters of this technology, or is it to also the existing customers that you have?
Well, many of the existing customers we have are Gen Z and millennials, and they are living in the metaverse. They are they're gaming every day. They're social shopping every day. They're virtually speaking to all of their peers via Instagram, Snapchat. I really believe that they're there already. And this opens the door to allow them to, I would say, evolve where they are and move forward. So we would like to think that we are bringing a service to our community and our fans by allowing them to, I would say, immerse in the metaverse, and for us to provide them with experiences both digitally and physically is, I think, a gift to all of our fans. And I think that they'll appreciate it. And I think that they will help us build it with all of their comments and all of their design direction.
Yeah, my internet cut out a little bit there, but yeah, thank you so much. One more question for you. When does Tommy Hilfiger plan to bring these NFTs and digital clothing to the general public and to a wider audience? So I imagine that's kind of like more a question for Justin, like how long does it take for this vision to come to fruition for these like kind of Digiphysical quests, for example? You're on mute again, Justin.
We're building out these sort of quests right now, and I think over the summer months we're going to just see an explosion of these. But yeah, I mean, we'd be very interested to hear Tommy's plans in sort of that digital direction.
Yeah, absolutely. And NFT Futures also says, do you see NFTs, digital garments, and the digital aspect being accessible within Tommy Hilfiger stores in the near future?
Who was that one
for? Tommy, sorry, to Tommy.
Could you repeat the question, please?
Absolutely, of course. Do you foresee things like NFTs and these digital garments and this digital aspect being accessible within Tommy Hilfiger stores?
Absolutely. That's 100% without a doubt. And as Justin said, it is going to explode over the summer. We just dropped an NFT and we sold out within an hour. We're already there, but we're going to expand it and we're going to evolve it. So I would say, stay tuned. It's only going to get better. This is only the beginning.
Yeah, absolutely. And this question, I think, is mostly for Cathy. So it's all about this storytelling. So do you believe that the storytelling is anticipating the actual technology that's available? And then there's a second part to this question. What would be the social impact of this new phygital trend? And I feel like that's a massive question for you. But yes, we've only got a few minutes left, but I'd be really interested to hear Cathy's thoughts on that.
Well, the second question is definitely an anthropological exploration of the future of how we will engage as humans, right? I don't think we have time to answer that, but I would say with the first one is, yeah, I mean, we're not fully there, right? A lot of the technology is still evolving, right? So maybe many of the things that we envision might not be here right now, but they might be here in a couple of years, right? So I think it'll be an evolution. I do think that there is already technology out there. It's just not evenly distributed. Like William Gibson says, like the future is already here. It's just not evenly distributed. So yeah, I mean, we'll play catch up. The moment I'm waiting for is whenever we move away from our phones, right? Because there's only so many more cameras they can add to a phone, and we're going to wearables, right? Glasses or whatever comes next. And I think that'll be a watershed moment, right, for the industry. And it won't be like one day we're going to wake up and be like, oh, the metaverse is here and I've arrived. it's going to be a progression, like it's been. But technology will eventually catch up, but it is moving fast, and there are many companies working on amazing solutions, including what you guys are doing at Boson. So
yeah, and I wonder if Justin, you want to just jump in on that.
Yeah, I love the quote, "The future's here, it's not evenly distributed." And I think it is difficult to anticipate which direction the future will take, and it's kind of my job to do that. And with Boson, we were I guess 18 months ago we placed a bet. Maybe it was about 16 months ago we placed a bet on the metaverse and it's turned out to be a great one for us. And I think what you need to do is just get involved and be right at the forefront, so that you get a chance to see which direction things are going. You cannot sort of sit back and be involved. You've got to be right there. You've got to place some bets. Some will win, some will lose, but all of them you'll learn from, and have fun with your communities and with your teams and with your business.
Amazing. So that is all of the questions for today. So I just want to say an absolutely ginormous thank you. You guys have been fantastic. Thank you to everybody who has joined us live, both on the Lemonade platform and in the Boson Portal event space. I hope that you are all enjoying Metaverse Fashion Week, and do go and have a stroll down the Boson Portal Fashion District and check out the Tommy Hilfiger store today. And thank you so much, everyone, for joining.